more clarity. So, one of the two elements I have given in the matter is space and time. This space and time, they are created just like we create. In order to play this game, we needed a world of game, simulated game, and that game needs to be somewhere for us. We need some space, though it is not real world, but it still needs a space. So therefore, we have the space of the screen, or for us now this is a space which now all of us have experienced this world of game, this simulated game. And similarly, in order to make this world animated, interactive, we also need time, and in the computer we also have a clock. As soon as you switch on the computer, this becomes the space for the simulated world, and the clock inside the computer, it drives the event. The clock starts from 0. It starts ticking, or maybe it is already there, but the computer starts from the clock cycles. The time of the computer is different from the time which you use. It has a different time. You change the clock speed, the game will run very slowly. You increase the clock speed, the game will run very fast. But nevertheless, that time exists in the real time. It takes some time. Sometimes it occupies longer time, it may occupy shorter time, but it does occupy some portion of time. Similarly, though it is taking only a little space, but it still does take some space. So, similarly, this world is created. The space and time are created of this world. That is why they are called material, space and time, because they have a beginning and an end. The space and time has a beginning and end. And similarly, in the Vedantic text, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered as the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and other places we have information that, and Brahma Samhita, that this material world is created in a small portion of the absolute world. So this material world it occupies some space in the absolute world, and the material time does take some time in the absolute time of the absolute world. So the first concept I would like to focus after the time and space is ahankara. Ahankara means, aha means I, ahankara means I-ness or identity. In this artificial world or simulated world, either simulated world of game or in this world is also kind of a simulated world, but there the simulation is through electronics, but here the simulation is through what we see here, physics, chemistry, biology and other scientific laws. But the concept is similar. So the first step when you want to play the game is that you have to identify with the character. Then only you can play the game. Otherwise, you will be just spectator, but you will not be playing the game. You have to think that you are the character. So therefore, this is the false ego is a subtle element which helps us to identify ourselves with something else. Before I play the game, I am Vasudeva Rao, but as soon as I started the game, I am the boy who is running on the tracks and trying madly to collect the gold coins, right? But as long as I think I am the boy running on the tracks, I feel the gold coins are very valuable. That means the values come from our identification. The values can be corrected easily if our identification is corrected. as long as I am playing the game, my consciousness is in winning the game. For me, the gold coins, which in the real world does not have any value, they appear to be very valuable. But as soon as the game is finished, neither the game is there nor the gold coins are there. Similarly, they say for a self-realized person who has transcended this game of this simulated this our cosmos, for him a stone as well as a gold coin both are same, because for him he is realized that he is only playing the game of this universe in the universe. So self-realization can help us to overcome some of our greediness and other things, where we give value to the real things, not the things which are important only in this world. So false ego gives the false identification. This is the first step. False impression to the soul to think that the soul is the body that it is occupying. I am sure there are some movies made out of this concept in Hollywood. So the false ego gives this false identification. As soon as the identification is fixed in the consciousness, the buddhi is another subtle element. It gives the algorithms for what you want to achieve. As soon as your identification is fixed, more or less your goals are fixed. As soon as I think I am citizen of India, the goal will be immediately fixed that I want to make India proud. Or as soon as I think I am student of such and such institute, I want to make institute proud. So as soon as the false ego or the false identification is fixed, immediately the intelligence starts acting for realizing that goal. So intelligence generates algorithms for carrying out the task for the benefit of misidentified soul. You have identified this body, this is not real identity, false identity, but with this identification comes lot of ambitions, lot of aspirations, lot of goals, many intentions. So the intelligence constantly works for us, giving ideas how we can achieve that. So it generates algorithms. It also evaluates pros and cons. If we do that, what will benefit, what is not. And memory is a partner in this intelligence, because memory is the mother of intelligence. Memory also takes part in intelligence. And the next and last final subtle element is the mind. Mind is called as also sixth sense or the king of the senses, because all gross senses, they collect the sense data and send to the mind, and we actually perceive this sensory input as impressions in the mind, as inputs that are received by the mind. We experience our sensory inputs as a mental state. We feel that actually I am enjoying the senses. Actually we are enjoying the mental state input received from the senses. So the mind is the mixture of all sensual inputs for the soul to experience. And what is it? What is its function? Its function is to keep us busy, in something all the time. Just like a child, when the mother wants to go away from the child for a little time, they give some toy to the child by which the child is always engaged. And nowadays they give mobile phones to the children and the child is always busy, something else other is always coming up in this. So this mind is designed in such a way that we always remain in the identity of this body. It constantly keeps changing its state. So from computer science, I have taken a concept, flip-flop. The flip-flops, they are toggling flip-flops, you can make them continuously change the state, 1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 0. But the mind is a multi-state flip-flop, which keeps changing between states, multiple states, many states. These states include our past, present and possible future gross and subtle enjoyments. How the mind keeps us busy in this identity is by giving us perks, by giving us perks. And what is the perk that the soul likes most? Happiness. So the mind is so designed to bring you the pleasures that you have already known and the pleasures you are currently undergoing, and within this what possible future pleasures are possible. These include subtle and gross. Gross is we directly enjoy the senses, and subtle enjoyments are our ambitions. I want to be known as a famous person, or I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. All these are same category, but some are gross and some are subtle. So the mind keeps bringing different states of our engagement in the past, present and future. So in one sense, we are actually tied to our mind. Just like I have experience in some places, you go to visit some important person, there is a TV kept there and it is on, and invariably you go to the TV and keep watching without your knowledge. So the mind is in such a way that it is like a TV for you inside. It keeps changing different channels, very interesting channels for you. If you don't like some channel, it immediately knows and changes the channel, that until you fix to your favorite, most favorable channel. So I have defined the mind as multi-state flip-flop of past, present and future enjoyments, engagements. Also not only enjoyments, also sufferings. It also keeps bringing us suffering. Sometimes we want to forget some suffering or some insult, but it is not in our hands. The mind keeps bringing all the enjoyments and sufferings in the past and future. And there is some interesting pattern in the mind, what kinds of states it brings to us, to our experience, it presents to us. Just like in computer science, it has cache memory and main memory. In the cache memory, it has most recent experiences, and majority of the times it brings up the most recent indulgences, most recent experiences. And if you are not happy with that, then it will go to the little past experience. And if you don't like that also, it will give you ideas, possible future engagements. So mind works like this. Therefore, many management gurus tell you that if you practice some good habit for 21 days, even if it is not habit in the first place, if you practice it for 21 days, it will become your habit, because it will remain in your cache memory of the mind, and mind mostly brings from the cache memory. So the mind which is troubling you before to practice good things, now it is coming forward and presenting to you, why don't you do this? Because you have forced it to store the cache memory with the recent, it stores, that is its nature. So if you want to cultivate some good thing, practice for some time, 14 days, some people say 21 days, some people say. If you practice it, it becomes your nature, or your nature means what your mind is presenting to you. So one very important question, most of us think that mind is thinking. Here we should ask, what is actually thinking? Or more appropriately, who is thinking? Is mind thinking? Have you ever thought thinking, who is actually thinking? Generally we think my mind is going here, mind is going there. We can ask the question, is mind really thinking? If you actually see, it is not the mind which is thinking. It is the soul or the consciousness which is thinking. mind is an instrument for you to think. Mind is an instrument which brings you different contexts, different impressions in the past, future, but it is you who choose to think what you want to think, which state to continue, which channel to continue. Like in the TV, it is you who choose to continue which channel to continue, and even in the channel, each scene you mediate from one channel, one scene to another scene, another scene to another scene. So, mind is actually not thinking. It is the soul or consciousness which is actually mediating through mind and thinking. And actually, thinking is a state of consciousness. And I am putting next question. Is soul thinking or the consciousness thinking? This is one more question to ponder over. It is not even the consciousness which is thinking. It is the soul which is thinking, experiencing. Consciousness is to soul the same way as what charge is to the electron. Consciousness is a property of the soul. The thinking is the awareness or consciousness of the soul. So, therefore, it is not the consciousness which is thinking. The conscious states of the soul are called as thinking. So, there are some properties of the soul that are given. One is eternity, second is immeasurable, third is consciousness, and fourth is happiness. And in the Vedantic tradition, there are eternal and temporary things that are given. God, soul, energy of the matter is also eternal, and time, there is universal time, there is absolute time and space which are eternal. The temporary are universe which we are living in, the karma, the activities which we are doing, they are temporary, and our temporary identity, mind, ego and intelligence, and the universal time also temporary. So, what is the difference between the two, matter and the spirit? Both are defined as energy, both are having eternal nature. What is the difference? The difference is the material energy is available in material packets, spiritual energy is also available in packets. So, each of us are a single packet of spiritual energy, quantum. We are all one single quantum of spiritual energy. And the difference between spiritual quantum and the material quantum is that material quantums of energy can be combined, but spiritual quantums of energy cannot be combined, they cannot be cut, they cannot be joined. So, this is available in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, na jayate mriyate va kadachin. And similarly, this example I was giving, if electron jumps from one state to first state to third state and jumps back from third to second and then to first, is a kind of energy divided. And similarly, if you readjust, you can combine two energies, or you can assume. But in the case of the spiritual energy, they are eternal. Ajo, Nitya, Shashvata. Krishna is using three words, not one word, in one line of the shloka, Aja, Nitya, Shashvata. Because we may have doubt, maybe Krishna by mistake he has used some word. So, he is giving three words in the same line, Aja, Nitya, Shashvata. Means is unborn, is eternal and permanent. So, these are eternal packets of consciousness. So, I do not have time to go into that. And another very important property is immeasurable, that Krishna talks about the soul in Gita is immeasurable. Generally, we are trying to capture the soul in some instrument, but actually it is not possible to capture the soul with any instrument, because I am going to the video game example. If you are part of the video game, inside the video game, and you see this character, this boy, somebody told this boy is only a body, there is a soul who is actually playing through this body. Of course, let us imagine. And you want to capture that boy who is playing this. And if you see, the person who is playing this boy is not part of this game. The person who is playing this boy is sitting outside on a computer. Means the person who is playing the game is transcendental to the game, is not part of the game. Similarly, though we are acting